Streaming cyberspace into your place, sanctioned by the Red Light Racing League. From Hickory Motor Speedway, it's the Virtual Grip Network's 12th round coverage of the Skitter Creek SK Modified Series Season 13. Well, the Teapot, a familiar companion to everyone from Mary Poppins to the Mad Hatter. In the hands of most, an instrument that promotes peace and tranquility. But in the hands of the right, or maybe more accurately, the wrong person, it can be a weapon of vengeance, delivering John Wickian consequences. The latter scenario is the case for this, the 13th campaign for the RLR's SK Modifieds. The driver, fondly dubbed Teapot, Eric Stout, has turned up the heat on the RLR stovetop and has boiled away much of this season's drama in the process. Because Stout started the season winning only one of his first 4 races, when he earned his second and third wins consecutively in rounds 5 and 6, the worried concerns of him dominating the season were reasoned away as a mere tempest in a teapot. But when Stout went on to win the next 4 out of 5, giving him 7 wins on the season, it became clear that Teapot was indeed the tempest. But for every Dracula there is a Van Helsing, every Napoleon finds his Waterloo, and for every Teapot eventually someone will turn off the burner, steep the leaves, pour the brew, and cool it off with some milk. Tonight, do the tables turn because it's tea time, or will it be just more skull-shattering, traumatic, Stout-delivered pot strikes to the heads of his competition? To find out, pull the lever on the lazy boy and settle in for the simulated short-track racing action that's about to stream your way. A warm Tar Heel state. Hello and welcome on this Thursday night, March 27th, 2025. The institution, J.R. Shepard, joined yours truly, Bill Soups on. Hi! For the VGN broadcast booth, bringing you our words, eye view, replay, Ryan Seneker. Turn the knobs and pushing the sliders, J.R. We are at yet another short track in North Carolina. Anything make this place special?
Well, Soup, it's going to be exciting here tonight. I think this place is just under 3/8 of a mile in length, and the track surface is very bumpy. These drivers will have to keep that in mind throughout the night here. If you hit one of those bumps wrong, it will upset the car and create either a push or a loose condition depending on your wheel input when you hit that bump. But more importantly, it will open up an opportunity for your competitor to make a pass on you. The other thing we got to watch here tonight in these SK Modifieds will be the fact that this track has a curved backstretch. We know these cars are momentum type race cars. You will see some drivers try to cut that curved backstretch during the race or even enter turn 3 really early in order to get to the inside of the driver ahead. Soup, my experience is that when this occurs, you will normally see contact resulting in the end of someone's night, something that we have seen a lot of toward the end of these races this season. But bottom line, Hickory is a tight bull ring, and I expect to see some exciting and intense racing here tonight.
Indeed. So far, history has proven wherever you are on the racing grid or even on the track, whatever position you're racing in, there's no place to hide. Disaster can find you whether you're up front, in the middle, or at the back. Let's take a quick look at the rules package that allows drivers to drop their single worst results so the graphics reflect each driver's best, 10 out of 11 outcomes. The worst result, of course, is saved in what we like to call that driver's pocket. Eric Stout, he is basically in a class by himself, 7 wins and on a current 3-race win streak. The best of the rest goes to Bradley Steffen. A 12th at Oxford ended Kenny Allen's 4-race top 10 streak. He's put out a little bit of a bounty. If Stout can beat him, he'll contribute 50 iRacing credits. Oxford had Chad Alcaraz finding the podium for the first time since round 2, moving him above both Brian Bianchi and Rex Hoyle. The big movers of the week was Luke Allen. Kid Lemon Lime finished 4th last time out, but maybe more important, he did that while only collecting 5 incident points. Well done, young man, as he goes up 4 spots on the ladder. Internet gremlins continue to haunt defending champ. That is Jeff Ahu. He's 4th consecutive finish, 13th or worse. A lot of those were internet related. Hopefully tonight he can put those gremlins in the corner without dinner and go ahead and get a good result here. Oxford Plains was not kind to either Fred Leclerc or Josh Buckley, coming home in 14th and 17th, respectively, for both of them. So we are glad you are with us here tonight. This one and a few more to go as they grid up. I'd like to tell you that, try as I might, it's impossible to get any good bowl of chowder down here in North Carolina. But you can still get a taste of New England by visiting our grid sponsor, RacedayCT.com, the most comprehensive site for short track racing news in New England. And we are glad to have them with us. And since they are the grid sponsor, it seems only appropriate that what we do is give you that grid right now. So let's do that. Hey, we got somebody new on the pole tonight. How about Fred Alcaraz? He's going to be inside of defending champ Jeff Aho. Nice front row.
Yeah, row 2, we got Bradley Steffen rolling off in 3rd spot, AJ Hamill rolling off in 4th.
TJ Hansen in 5th. He's going to be inside of points leader Eric Stout.
Rolling off in row 4, we got Luke Logan Allen on the inside, outside Rob Higgins.
Luke Logan Allen is 7th. His dad's going to start right behind him on the grid. Ken will be in 9th. Former winner Bradley Feeney in 10th.
Rolling off in row 6, inside we got Aiden Alvecchian rolling off 12th place on his outside, Josh Buckley.
You got it. Back in the biggest of the spot is Fred Leclerc. And Chris may have some Mosher Oliver in 14th.
Rolling off in 15th place, we got Chris Hazlett outside in 16th, Brian Neff.
You sort out here, the rest of these guys are a little farther back. 4 drivers didn't put in qualifying times. I'll give you all of them. Bruce Pearson, Benjamin Gerhardt, a newcomer. Bob Higgins and Scott Negus will be going in 20th. 16 drivers put in qualifying times. We'll see how many actually take the break. Glad you were with us. And our turn turns to Chad Alcaraz out in front. Chad had a good result last time. We get to talk to him. He podiumed. Looks like he's taken his last round success and turned it into a good qualifying run. Doubling up. Beautiful night to go racing here in North Carolina. Glad you are with us. Round number 12, this one, and then 13, 14, 15, and 16 to go before we crown a champion. Gather up the chickens, take cover on the cows. The horses are out of the barn, and it is Alcaraz that leads the stampede down into the first corner. Everyone behaving so far, stuck on the outside. That's Aho. Trying to get underneath him is the 89 is Steffen. Steffen's a former winner, sitting second in the points right now. AJ Hamill behind them, and we got ourselves a caution.
We got a big mess in turn 4 there, Soup. I'm not sure what happened. I saw one car get pushed wide, and then on several cars looked like they were trying to check up. But we'll get a replay here and see what exactly transpired there.
Watching the yellow number 40, that is the car of Rob Higgins.
And yeah, I believe that was Eric Stout that Higgins got into there. So yeah, Stout's going to be on the back foot here, trying to come through the field if that was him, and got to make sure that also he didn't get damage out of that, because he did take a good hit to the outside wall.
Stout with a bad qualifying time. Indeed it was, as he was checking up, trying to stay off the car that was right in front of him. The 81 of Ken Allen. Sure enough, Stout gets in trouble. Not a lot of tears will be shed for Teapot.
No, and you know, that's a huge opportunity for the rest of these drivers. We know that there are a lot of drivers in this field that are fast enough to go win races. Some odd things have happened, allowing Eric to be able to capitalize on it, but with him being on the back foot here, being with those issues involved in that accident, this is going to open up opportunities for a lot of drivers like Chad Alcaraz. Jeff Aho's up front for once without issues at the moment. Bradley Steffen and even AJ Hamill, these drivers are going to be fighting hard. They just have to make sure they don't take each other out trying to win this race.
Indeed. Take a look at a few drivers who've made up a couple spots. Kid Lemon Lime, Luke Logan Allen, sitting up one spot. He'll start at 6th. The good news is he is up one spot. The bad news is he'll be on the outside line as they start to double up down the backstretch. His dad, Kel Allen, up 2 spots. Tip of the hat to Aiden Alvecchian. Nice run from him. He's up 3 spots, racing in 8th. All right, let's go racing this time. We got 100 laps on tap. They've put in 6. This will be 7 as they come across the line right now. Looks Looks like the advantage is going to go to the inside. Oh my goodness, it could be that setup that JR was talking about for cold tires. We got another caution. Looks like the 43 this time. Rob Higgins.
See what happened here. We see Stout right behind him. There's actually a checkup on the initial restart. Maybe the 93. I couldn't see ahead of Chris Hazelip there. But I do see Hazelip slow down and a lot of drivers check up. And in return, Eric Stout's going to get involved in another one there. And it did send the 43 car around. So he may have some good damage based on that hit that he took to the inside. No, I think he's going to be all right soon.
A little more difficult when you start back in amongst it than out in front, although the reputation so far has been in this red light racing league that you are safe nowhere in the field. Leaders can get taken out just as well. We see the pit stop starting there. Well, let's take this opportunity to maybe talk to, how about we dial up Aiden Alavecchion, see if we can talk to him. He's having a nice run. Aiden, it's Soup up in the booth. Do you have a minute to talk to us?
Sure thing.
Hey, you're having a nice run, up 4 spots so far, and you got yourself put on an odd number on the inside line. How's it feeling?
I was incredibly slow in practice. I think I got as far up as I didn't qualify because a lot of people didn't qualify tonight. And honestly, my goal right now is just to survive the wrecks, and we'll see what we can put together.
We're hearing the setup might be kind of tough, especially on cold tires. You have any feelings about it?
It was a little sketchy. I mean, we're getting heat in the tires. I think it'll settle out here once we get a couple laps in.
All right, good luck, buddy. They're doubling up on the back straight. Go get them. Aiden Alavecchion up 4 spots, sitting in 7th. And just going to take it easy right now. Vultured a few spots. Here we go. Pace cars in. Let's see if we can get a little bit of green fire racing here. We're going to be working lap number 12. They are side by side. Alcaraz has led all the laps so far. He's going to get credit with leading this one as well. Aho on the outside, trying to find his way down in. The 89 of Bradley Steffen, not going to have any of it.
Yeah, and that outside line, Soup, it's not so bad through turns 1 and 2. You can lose some time, but that outside line is extremely tough when you get down here to turns 3 and 4. The car just does not rotate, does not want to turn at all. And you can see right there Bradley Steffen going right by Jeff Aho. Now A.J. Hamill's looking to do the same.
Hamill's not going to let him in. T.J. Hansen back in 5th position, looking to tuck right in behind Hamill as well and keep the defending champion to the outside. Finally room for Aho to jump in there, but he doesn't force the issue, drifts a little bit up. That's going to open 62 up if he wants to force his way, and he does not. Now they start to settle down. Single file. First double file, let's take a look at this one. It's Double Deuce Bruce Pearson on the outside of the 93 of Chris Hazelip. A couple bootleg racing league guys side by side.
Yeah, they're familiar with racing each other, and that's a good thing. The more you race with drivers in a league, the more you understand how they are as drivers, what kind of lines they're going to run, what kind of room they're going to give you, and in return, you usually get a lot better racing, so it's good to see drivers that have that experience.
A man with a long way to go, and I guess 83 laps to get there, is Eric Stout, right behind those guys. Stout now to the inside of Double Deuce Bruce. Looking to make that work. Bruce will go ahead and surrender that position, I assume. And now Stout up to 13th spot with a damaged car, perhaps. Seems to be racing pretty quickly.
Yeah, no. Hazelip's going to go slightly around. Looks like he saves it in the bottom of turn 2 there, so we stay green. But yeah, I expected these cars to be a little bit free on the early run. After about 4 or 5 laps, I think the car is going to start to get tighter. And as that right front tire gets more and more heat, more pressure built up in it, these cars are going to start to go to the tight side. So right now we're not seeing it, but I expect as we get deeper into this run, we'll see drivers start to use that apron a little bit just to try to get the car to rotate in the center of both sides of this racetrack.
Let's check in on the guy we talked to in the interview, Vecchion in the 271 machine. I'm telling you, Aiden, that car will be faster if you lose a ditch off the car number. That's the 71 of Fred Leclerc on the inside. They race side by side. Looking at the car ahead of him is the number 6 of Luke Logan Allen.
Yeah, and the one thing I liked about what Aiden said, he knows that it's not his type of track. He's not fast here. But his comment that I really liked was that he's just trying to keep it clean around this racetrack. That is huge at a place like Hickory. It's so easy to make a mistake or get yourself in trouble and into the outside wall, especially coming out of the corners here. So keeping it clean is going to be a big, big story tonight.
They continue to race side by side. Alvecchio eventually will have to probably surrender Casper there, and the car that's trying to duck in there is Eric Stout, who's watching the 52 of Chris Oliver. Oliver would like to get that spot if possible. Kid Lemon Lime drifts a little bit high, and that's going to let Leclerc get underneath him.
Yeah, and that's through the middle of 3 and 4. It's just so easy. Oh, we see contact coming out of 2, but they keep it straight after that. But it's so easy to get just a little bit too high through turns 3 and 4, and you just lose the grip that allows the drivers behind you to turn underneath you.
The 71 of Fred Leclerc trying to say, see you later, boys, like you're skater boys. He leaves those guys behind. The 52 of Chris Oliver has cleared the mess. Stout Teapot is able to get through. Luke Logan Allen finally going to be able to tuck down in. I think there's going to be room in front of the 13 of Josh Buckley. Granny Hip says, not on my watch, as he tucks the number 13 nose inside of the 6. And Kid Lemon Lime still stuck out there on the outside line.
Yeah, and I was going to mention just a little while ago, Eric Stout was stuck behind those drivers too wide. That's like your worst nightmare ever at a track like this, when you know you have speed, but you just can't go anywhere because they're side by side. He was able to navigate through that, but we're seeing a lot of battling right here, a lot of contact happening right now between Luke Logan Allen and Brian Neff.
This is a yellow flag dying to be thrown right now, but they're still sorting it out, drifting a little bit high. That is the 60 of Brian Neff. Neff leads all drivers in incident points so far. He's going to get through that one. That is the Lipper, Chris Hazlett, trying to follow him through the 93. And poor Kid Lemon Lime still stuck there on the top side. No room for him to get down.
Yeah, and now we're past lap 30. We've got about 25 green flag laps on these tires. This is when the cars start to get tight and push on corner exit, and that's what you start to see when you try to make a pass on somebody. You just get tight. If you're that driver that's on the bottom of the track, you push up on corner exit, and you start to get frustrated, and that's where some of this contact is coming from.
Can the outside line work? Well, Teapot says yes. Eric Stout powers around the top side of Chris Oliver. And watching it done was the 13 of Granny Hips. Josh Buckley says, all right, well, if Teapot can do it, Granny Hips can do it, and he does it as well. I don't know if that's a case of making the outside line work, or maybe this Oliver not fueling the car right now. It looks a little bit to be off pace.
It does, and you know, we're looking closer up the front here. We're seeing Ken Allen try to get to the inside of TJ Henson here. He's working him over at the moment, but I've been watching AJ Hamill up toward the front here. He's in second place. He's trying to chase down our leader. He's starting to use that apron. He got a little bit high off of turn 2 there. He's getting right on the yellow line through 3 and 4, and I've seen him dip his tires below that yellow line in turns 1 and 2 many times. He's going to do it once again right here. Not the whole tire, but he's dipping enough to try to get that car to rotate.
Want to talk about a couple guys in the top 5 whose parents didn't have enough imagination to give them real names. AJ Hamill and the number 18 working on the leader. But another driver who's been trying to get all sorts of stuff done is the 62 of TJ Henson. He's been working high and low trying to get around the car in front of him, which was Bradley Steffen. Steffen pulled away now, and now Henson is in trouble. And in fact, he has lost the position as he loses it to Ken Allen up there in 5th.
Yeah, and it's clear the speed that Ken Allen has, because as soon as he got by, he immediately pulled away. So he'll be up there with the leaders soon enough with that type of pace. We look back here and see Brian Neff. He's continuing to try to make his way forward. He's up to 11th place right now. He's actually moved up 5 spots in this race, so we've seen him be very aggressive. So expect more contact to come.
We've seen Brian Neff, of course. If you've ever been watching VGN for any time, any length at all, you'll know the name of Brian Neff. And there's the contact he talked about. And the Lipper straightens him out. We stay under green. That was Chris Hazlett that got into the back of Neff, started to turn him, rotated around a little bit, and then very courteously said, let me straighten you out, young man.
Yeah, and ironically, he's falling all the way back to Luke Logan Allen, where we saw some action happen earlier, so it could stay heated for a few laps here.
Allen and Neff sit 1 and 2 on the incident points collected this season, although Kid Lemon Lime doing a good job of racing clean up late. Neff, not a stranger to incident points, is he. They're right behind Aiden Alvecchion.
Yeah, a lot of close racing here. We see a lot of drivers, so, you know, as these cars start to get tight, one of the things you want to do is try to arc the car in a little bit more. When when you arc that car in, it's very inviting for that driver behind you to try to stick his nose in and drive a shallower entry into the corner. Normally when that happens, you get contact. We saw some of that with Neff just a little while ago, and we're seeing it at different spots throughout this field.
Rest assured, the friends and family of Chad Alcaraz, we're going to get him some screen time in just a minute, but this seems like a yellow flag that's happening there. We're going to watch these guys, Neff dripping up, Alvekian trying to keep it tight, but leaving enough room for Neff. This is a good battle. Watch it out of the popcorn position. His kid Lemon Lime, Logan Allen, looking for a way around.
Yeah, and it's so tough as we're watching this when you're that car on the inside. No matter how much faster you are than the guy you're trying to pass, you just get bogged down because these are momentum race cars, these SKs. They just don't have a ton of power to get them up out of the corner. And when you have to keep that wheel turned down, you're just not able to get back to the throttle early enough to carry that speed out. And that's usually why you see this side-by-side racing, and in a lot of cases, the outside line prevails.
Okay, as promised, let's get a little screen time love to Chad Alcaraz. He's been out there. He's led 48 laps. Don't know if we've had him on the screen very often, but he certainly deserves it. Started on the pole. That's where he's racing right now. There were 2 laps that iRacing credited to Jeff Aho. Good to see Jeff, the defending champion, still out there. Those internet gremlins spanked and put to bed early. He races in third. Between Aho and Alcaraz sits A.J. Hamill.
Yeah, we see Chris Oliver, I believe, that's off pace a little bit. He's keeping it low, keeping it nice. We'll see what happened to him here going down the back stretch at the moment into turn 3. And yeah, so that's one of the things that I kind of talked about, is using that apron to help the car rotate. Problem is, if you get too much of that car down below the yellow line onto the apron, you actually bottom out in these cars. And once you bottom out, there's nothing you can do. It's just basically riding on the metal underneath the vehicle, kind of like being on a skid plate. It just slides. So, yeah, just a little bit too low there.
You can see on the tower there and also on screen the Teapot watch. Eric Stout was able to work his way around. Fred Leclerc moves up now into 7th position. He's got clear track ahead of him, though. He's got a ways. There's nothing between him and 6th but pavement. So we'll see if he can run him down. And the driver in 6 is TJ Henson.
Yeah, and you know, you're talking about Eric Stout there, all the positions he's been able to make up. That's one of the things that really frustrates these other drivers. We all know how fast Eric is, but you see there's a lot of fast drivers in this field. The one thing that's a little bit different about Eric is his race craft. He figures out ways to make passes, and that's what he's done so far. We've been green flag since that first caution early in the race. All of these positions he's made up while under green.
Let's go to the leader, because he has come up on the back of a hornet's nest. He's got lap traffic to the outside. That's the 43 of Rob Higgins. He's going to make quick work of him. But then there's more fighting going on. That includes the newcomer of Benjamin Gerhardt is up there. Also the 40 of Rob Higgins involved.
Yeah, and this is opportunity time for A.J. Hamill, and he knows it. He has closed that gap a little bit, hoping that this traffic creates some type of opening that he can use to get by Chad Alcaraz here, that has been dominating this race so far. But Chad is going to try to work hard. He's basically having to drive a lap ahead. He's having to figure out where these drivers are going to be before he gets there. One of the problems he had just now, though, and we see some contact up ahead of him there.
That was Kid Lemon Lime, number 6, Luke Allen in the wall. This is the most lap traffic we've seen all season right now. And my goodness, the 17 of Chad Alcaraz says, why this race, when I'm leading, is this the race where we come up on the back of lap traffic that is so hideously bunched together right now? So the 6 of Allen on the outside, they're going to get by him. That's the 40 now that they're looking a way around. Rob Higgins, even though this is simulated racing, the car has simulated mass, simulated width and height. He has to put the car somewhere on the track.
Yeah, and the one thing I really like from Chad right now is he is protecting that inside line. He's being very smart about that. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't get himself in trouble where he bogs down his momentum by taking an early entry when it's not necessary. He needs to make sure he continues to arc when he can arc, but if AJ's close, you've got to protect that inside.
There is no way to go, and this is all being held up, these guys who are side by side. The 38. Now this is Brandon Feeney. This is not even a battle for position. Feeney is a lap down, but he continues to race on the inside of Aiden Alvekian. Those two have been racing side by side for so many laps. They have bunched up. the newcomer of Benjamin Gerhardt behind him, and now the leader trying to look for some way around Alcaraz, trying to see if he can go underneath the 40 of Higgins, but that's not going to happen. I feel a 3 wide coming here pretty soon as the leader's going to get impatient.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, there goes Feeney around. And yeah, Ken Allen also involved. It looks like Ken got spun during the checkup.
All this happens just ahead of Eric Stout, who is not involved in it, so he'll be able to vulture a few more positions. They were all starting to come. We'll watch the replay.
Yeah, you can see, I think Ken just saw Feeney spinning early enough that he lifted, but unfortunately TJ Henson was just right behind him when that happened and probably couldn't see at all what was happening up ahead. And yeah, unfortunately Ken Allen just gets turned into that mess.
There's the spin from the 81. You can just see it happening, that he was trying to lift a little bit to avoid the nonsense that was happening in front of him. Well, I don't know if that's good news or bad news for these drivers. They get a little bit of a break, catch their breath, but it does bring in the number 12, your points leader now, right up behind him, sitting in 6th position.
Oh, Soup, I believe A.J. Hamels just had some connection issues because he is not on the racetrack anymore. He was running in P2 there.
Indeed, I'd look real quick. Now I have him back.
Yep, I see you now.
Did he come back? Did iRacing score him? Yep, he got him back there in 7th spot.
Oh, my bad. So I'm looking back. I actually made a mistake there. AJ was one of these drivers that decided, hey, this is a time to pit. You know, the car's not feeling good, so he came in and got some right-side tires.
Hamill, Aho, TJ Henson. And it looks now I'm not sure if Stout, because Stout was involved, I'm not sure if he took a pit. He did. He came in as well. Even though he was taking a stop earlier, he came in and got one right now.
We'll see how it works out as we get ready to go green here, but that's a good decision right there. That's going to help that car rotate more than the drivers ahead.
Alcaraz gets the jump, and I guess he's got to be feeling a little bit better as Stout's a little farther behind him now because of the pit stop, but he is on fresh rubber. So the driver's on fresh rubber to watch. Back there it starts with a Hamill and Stout. Naho.
Yeah, and right now Hamill, he's trying to work over Brian Neff. He had to back off there on corner entry to not make contact, but this is his fear right now as he's got the fresh rubber, he's got a ton of grip, but he needs to get going because the laps are counting down and he's got drivers that are too wide ahead of him. They get it sorted out a little bit here, so he's going to have an opportunity if he can just get a good angle in 3.
25 laps to go, and we're going to pick up another first-time winner this season as Chad Alcaraz trying to do the best he can. Started on pole, not going wire to wire, but he has led all but 2 laps so far. He's got Bradley Steffen behind him. Steffen already has a win this season, looking to get one more.
Oh, TJ Henson's going to go around off of turn 4, but and the caution does come out. I thought we were going to be able to stay green there for a second.
So back in amongst the guys with tires and the guys without tires. Guys on different agendas.
Yeah, and it's just so easy to do what we saw right there with TJ and Brian Neff. The outside driver's trying to keep a nice, tidy, straight exit, but the driver on the inside is really having to turn that wheel, and sometimes the car just pushes up on corner exit. It feels like the banking really falls off from the middle of the corner to exit on 3 and 4 there, and the car just wants to push straight. Something we see very, very common in these modifieds.
Let's dial up the man in second, Bradley Steffen. Number 89. Bradley is Soup up here in the booth. You're racing in second. The guy's pitted behind you for new rubber. How you feeling?
Car feels great. I really was debating on going in as well. I maybe should have, maybe shouldn't have, but we'll see what happens, man. It's on rails, though. We're doing pretty good so far.
20 laps to go, and the guys with fresh rubber, it looks like the first one might be Hamill back there in 4th, so he's within shouting distance. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
I think Hamill might be the guy to beat.
Yeah, and he's going to be restarting in 4th place. That's normally not where you want to restart, but the good thing for it in this case is that Chris Hazlip's going to be on the inside there. Hazlip has not pitted. He stayed out, So he's going to be a little bit slower and going to have a harder time keeping that car down on the bottom. So I think AJ will be able to clear him.
Of course, this is the Red Light Racing League, but we got a lot of crossover drivers from other series on VGN. If you're a fan of Saturday Night here on VGN, you know the Bootleg Racing League, and I got a couple of bootleggers up there doing pretty good. We got Chris Hazlip and Bruce Pearson running 3rd and 5th, respectively, both on the inside line. Nice to see them up there. All right, we're going to be going green, working lap number 92 when they come across. Alcaraz is side by side. Now that is Stefan, who gets a good jump. They're going to stay side by side. Watch the 18. The 18 gets the best of Hazlip, and now AJ Hamill with fresh tires, and he's got 18 laps to get it done. Is he going to try to make it 3 wide? If I were the 2 guys in front, I'd say, hey, let's race side by side for the next 17 laps and keep that number 18 behind us.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm actually surprised that that Bradley Steffen's been able to make that outside work as well this far into this restart, because he's continuing to have momentum up off of the corners. Chad Alcaraz, he's having a problem keeping the car down, and it's going to cost him. He's going to move back into P2.
Fred Leclerc has fresh rubber as well, so he's going to be now working inside the 18 as they try to get that done. Hamill with fresh tires, Leclerc with fresh tires as they race behind the 2 guys out in front. Stefan and Alcaraz. New leader, Bradley Stefan.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting here. You know, sometimes when you're the leader, you're used to all these green flag laps your turn, you get a caution, you kind of get out of your rhythm. Be interested to see if Chad can come back from this and reclaim the lead. We're looking back here in the back. We see Eric Stout trying to make his way through, and some contact there with Josh Buckley.
There's a lot of cars for Stout to pick up. They are all jammed up together, but he's running out of laps. There's a long way to go to get to the front. 12 to go.
Yeah, and the one thing that we know is that we do get up to 3 green-white checkered attempts. We've seen it. Oh, and Hamill's going around off of turn 4.
Hamill took a peek to the inside. It didn't work, and my goodness, now they're piling in. Whoa, boys! No caution yet. Oh, my goodness, the race stewards here have decided that they have dinner reservations.
No. Yeah, and yeah, this is super unfortunate. An issue, obviously. Yeah, I'm gonna badmouth iRacing a little bit here. Obviously, an issue that needs to be fixed, because we clearly had a huge pile up here, and the caution did not come out until our leader made contact with some of those cars trying to get turned around.
Some old school racing. Race back to the yellow, although it's been out for a long time, and there you see the leader getting caught up in it.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of cars here trying to get by that mess. No reason why caution shouldn't have come out, and we see Bradley here just trying to hold on to the lead. He can't slow down. The caution's not out at this point. He has to keep going, and at this point, the track closes up on him. The only good thing I see about this is that he hit solid bumper to bumper. I don't think anything got towed out. I know he, popped up the left front there a little bit, but I think he'll be okay if they allow him to have his position back.
I guess it's a small degree of solace for Bradley Stefan, but iRacing at least is going to score him as the leader.
Yeah, I've talked about a lot of nightmares tonight, Soup, but that's always a big one for a driver when you're leading, is getting caught up in something like that because the caution's not out. So yeah, just very, very lucky that that Bradley doesn't have more damage on his car, but we'll see. Now it's going to put Chad on the outside on this restart.
I know we've already talked to Bradley once, but let's dial him up real quick again just to get a feel on that. Yeah, no, let's try to let Bradley Stefan as we can in the 89. Bradley, we're going to talk to you again. You come out of corner 4.
Man, stressful. Yeah, we got a little wheel damage. We'll see. I don't know how the car is going to be. I told Chad I maybe get my doors blown off here. We'll see, boys.
All right, good luck to you. We'll see if it turns left.
Thanks, guys.
Is there any way to know, JR, what the car's going to do?
There's not really until you go green, but if I'm Chad Alcaraz, I'm going to send it on the outside of turn 1 here. But unfortunately, Chad gets a pretty poor restart. He's not going to be on the outside.
Looks like the 89 feels pretty healthy.
And another caution.
This is Bruce Pearson and Hazlip. The bootleggers get together. They spin off to the inside and collect. Oh, on the roof Oh, like a beach catfish is TJ Henson. Pile in, and then finally Henson gets turned over.
Oh yeah, all the way off of turn 2 he gets turned over, so that was kind of like one of those wrecks that just never stopped.
Well, we had a nice little green flag run going for a while, but now we've hit a little yellow fest. We are on lap number 97, so I guess we do have a green-white checker situation here, so the lights are still on the pace car.
Yeah, and if you're Bradley Steffen, we knew he wasn't very confident right there when we interviewed him, but he's got enough of a restart there to know what his car is going to do, at least into turn 1, and he only has to make it work for a couple of laps. So I think he is in a great spot. That caution is probably about the best thing that could happen for him here, assuming that he can get a good restart.
Alcaraz had nothing for him. Now remember, Fred Leclerc is going to start on the outside, but he's got about 50 lap fresher tires.
Yeah, and that's for Fred. Obviously, his car's going to rotate a lot better, and we've seen that outside work late in the race here, especially if you've got fresher tires than the driver you're working with. So Fred has to focus. We know nobody can take off on this green flag until the green flies. Fred has to focus on that green flag flying and make sure he gets a good jump here.
Well, here we go. 2 laps to go. Bradley Steffen looking to pick up his second win of the season. It'll be the first one for Fred Leclerc. Leclerc waits. They have to go on the flagman. The 71 gets a good jump. Now, can he pin the 89 down? He can. He rolls the top side. Down the backstretch, 6 corners to go. Leclerc looks very good. Remember, fresher rubber. He starts to roll the top side, coming across the line. iRacing is going to score Leclerc as the winner. He doesn't have to complete the pass. He just needs to be first across the line, looking to get that nose. He even increases the lead out of 2. Now through the final corner. He's going to steal it. First time winner. Round number 12 goes to Fred Leclerc. Bradley Steffen off to settle for second. Chad Alcaraz gets third. Your points leader, Eric Stout, misses the podium in 4th.
Big win there for Fred Leclerc. He came up at 12 total spots in that race. Huge win. I know he's going to be excited when we talk to him here in a little bit.
Might be a case of old rubber gets new rubber on that one. That's going to be good. The racing is over, but you want to come back because we're going to talk to some of the drivers after we run down the finishing order. You're watching the Virtual Grip Network. Don't go far. Welcome back to Hickory Motor Speedway and the Virtual Grip Network's 12th round coverage of the bootleg. No, it's not the bootleg racing. It's the Red Light Racing League's SK Modified Invitational. Glad you are with us. And actually, the official name of the series is the Skitter Creek SK Modified Series. It is round number 12 is in the books. Let's give you the results right now. Well, he started in 13th position. Qualifying, schmollifying, says Fred Leclerc, as he comes from 13th to get the win. A pit stop for new rubber might have helped him there in the final showdown with Bradley Steffen. Steffen will have to settle for second. Chad Alcaraz, well, he led 78 laps, but unfortunately all he's going to get is a third place result. Points leader Eric Stout, try as they might to make his life hard, he still manages a fourth place finish just ahead of Chris Hazlip. Nice to see the Lipper finish so far up the standings. Joshua Buckley comes home in sixth. Kid Lemon Lime, Luke Logan Allen goes from 7th and finishes in 7th. Double Deuce Bruce Pearson in 8th position. Brian Neff will be in 9th, and rounding out your top 10, it is the newcomer, Benjamin Gerhardt.
Yeah, coming home in 11th place tonight, Bob Higgins. We saw him with a spin early in this race. Jeff Aho, defending champion. He started up toward the front, but he's going to finish 12th tonight. Aiden Alvecchion, he's the first car, 1 lap down. He's actually 2 laps down, finishing in 13th place. Rob Higgins comes home in 14th. TJ Henson, we saw him go over on the backstretch. He finishes 15th tonight. Ken Allen, he'll come home in 16th. AJ Hamill, we saw him with a great run, a great charge. He gets caught up in a mess there toward the end, finishes 17th. Brandon Feeney will come home in 18th place tonight. Chris Oliver, he will come home in 19th place, and Scott Negus is shown in 20th, but he did not take the green flag in this race.
Let's go ahead and dial up our race winner. It is Fred Leclerc. Well done, Fred. Coming to that final 2 laps there. You had 28 laps on your rubber, and Bradley Steffen had 78 laps. I guess that was the difference.
It definitely helped out tonight. I knew it would stick on the outside.
Yeah, correction on that. 98 laps he had not come in. So, yes, all the laps that the man you were running on the outside. And the outside line work, I thought you were in good shape. You couldn't finish the pass unlike the first time around, but then you were able to close the deal the second lap.
Yep. No, I knew he'd run me clean, so I knew I had a shot on the outside at least, and it all worked out there.
So, you started in 13th, which is in amongst it there early on. Did you avoid all the incidents? Was your car clean at the end?
Yes, I might add a little right front damage when I think AJ started to get loose under Chad, and I got into him a little bit. I might add a little right front damage, but nothing major.
You know, we don't see you win too often. How, as far as iRacing career, how does this win fare? Is this just another race, or is it important to you?
Actually, pretty important, because this is actually my first league I've ever won in.
Hey, there you go. That's why we're here. And you do it on a broadcasted event. So well done, Fred. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
All right, we hope to see you on the podium again soon. Fred Leclerc, your race winner today. Who you got?
Yeah, so I'm standing here with Bradley Steffen. He's our second place finisher tonight. Bradley, I know it's not ultimately the run that you wanted, but P2 still got to feel pretty good after that late race caution that you were kind of involved in there.
Oh yeah, I am not disappointed at all, one bit. I kind of knew, I tried to hold him off there at the end, but I had a little damage on on one of the wheels, and she wouldn't turn left like she used to. But we can't complain. We led a couple laps, and as far as finish in front of Eric, as many times as I can do that, I finished 2 spots ahead of him tonight, I think. As far as I finish ahead of him, it's a good night. As far as the points battle.
Absolutely. That was going to be my next question. I know you finished ahead of him. Eric having some issues. He still battled back to get into 4th place, but you clearly showed tonight the speed that you've had throughout this season. You're continuing to have it. You're able to make passes. What's your outlook on that championship moving forward? Do you think you can continue to chip away at it?
Yes, sir. Hopefully. I haven't totally looked at the schedule looking forward from this point on. There may be some bad tracks for me. There may be some really good tracks for me. We may have a couple more wins that we might be able to get. But I'll have to look after we get out of here. And I'm gonna try real hard, man. I'm gonna try my best and try to get this championship.
That's what we want to hear up in the booth. Looks like we're going to North Wilkesboro next week. I believe we got twin races, twin 50-lap races. What are your thoughts about that place in a car like this?
Well, if we got twin 50s, that means we are going to be on the gas pedal a lot. Tire savings is not going to be an issue. So it's probably going to be pretty chaotic, pretty eventful race. I'm decent there, so we got the speed. We'll just have to, see what happens.
We look forward to it, man. Hopefully we get to talk to you again next week.
Thank you, JR. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. That's Bradley Steffen. He's our second place finisher here tonight. Soup, who you got now?
Well, the VGN viewers are getting to know this man, Chad Alcaraz. He had a win last round. He had a pole position tonight, led 78 laps before he faded down to third. Chad, congratulations. Podium's beginning to be commonplace for you.
Well, it's just the hope, right? Man, the Thrace Gatos, Nebraska Storm Chasers, SK Modified was just on rails. I don't know what it was. I just went to queue and it just stuck. But honestly, I wasn't trying to queue last or the last on the field. I actually had a little bathroom break I had to do right before that, and that's why it's kind of late. So got kind of lucky, and then I'm worried for the rest of the race. I'm like, please don't come back, because I don't want to have to go into pits. So
it was an interesting time for that yellow to fall. You had some drivers go ahead and take it. Stout went in and took tires. Leclerc ended up, that made it to be the decision. How close were you to coming in?
If we wouldn't have come up on the traffic, I probably would have come in. But trying to get through the traffic, I realized that it would be very hard to try and come back through, because I think we were a good 2/10 faster than the cars that we were about to lap, but we could not get by them. That was when AJ had his spin under me when we were kind of stuck. So I was like, you know what? I'd much rather be up here, I think, and fish higher than be stuck back there and possibly get into a wreck when we're all trying to stack up on each other. So that was like the best of both, the best of the worst. Because 70, I don't like being the leader when that happens, but I do want to be the leader. So what else are we gonna do, right?
Yeah, we talked about it on the broadcast of all the time to be. I think of all the lap traffic we've ever seen on a Red Light Racing League broadcast, this was the worst there ever was, and it happened to have you when you were the leader. You were coming up on the back of a hornet's nest.
That was crazy. Those guys are great. Sometimes you think, hey, they should be getting over, but those guys are fighting for, I think it was probably top 10 even. It's like all the way, there's like 8 or 9 cars there, and plus the cars are coming up on me, and I'm like, I gotta be aggressive. So I'm pushing Rob. At one point, him and I touched, I think. And then there was another point, I think, where someone's half spun, and then I got stuck in the middle. And if AJ behind me doesn't back off, we all wreck. But he backed off in that situation, and so we were able to get through it. And so I tried to thank him, but then I realized that my radio was on the club channel, which there's no one from my club in this league. They're all from the Northeast or Canada. No one's from the Plains.
Well, you get a thank you on the broadcast is even better than one over privately. Well done, man. Podium's becoming commonplace now. Good luck as we go to the next one.
Speaking on the broadcast, congratulations to Fred. That was an amazing move on the outside. Same thing to Bradley. Good move on the outside, too. I think if Bradley doesn't get that damage, he might have been able to take care of the lead there. But, it was a fun show. An awesome job.
You guys put on a good show. Well done. We'll see you down the road. Chad Alcaraz, your third place finish today. All right, that's going to do it for us. When we're doing this again, we'll be back next week. You heard us talk about it. Where are we going? We're going to North Wilkesboro. That'll be fun. It's so good that we're going to give you 2 races for the price of 1. Yes, indeed. I'm not sure how it's actually going to work, but it's going to be exciting because we'll race once and then we'll do it all over again. Before then, of course, we'll be going to the Bootleg Racing. We'll be going on Saturday nights to Hickory for the doubleheader on Saturday, the late models later, and the SK Modifieds to start the show. With that said, those races are all part of the Virtual Grip Network. And until next time, have fun storming the castle.